Gizzo.
All right, that was Total and Biggie. Can't you see? All too common in America. We are flooded with scenes of men and women in camouflage and Confederate flags and automatic weapons and ski mask on, arguing about their freedom. No matter what happens in America, whether there's a school shooting, these type people take to the streets with their automatic weapons and they shout about their freedom. If there is something at the border, these type of people, they take to the streets and show off their weapons. If you're trying to give them health care, they take to the streets and show off their weapons. And right now, if you try to keep them safe, they take to the streets and show off their weapons, which is an implied threat. Now, in America, we cannot have two things that can't exist together. We can't praise the people, the doctors and the frontline responders and the nurses and the essential personnel as heroes and call these jackbooted masked thugs heroes too, because that's exactly what they are. Every time something happens in America, from a school shooting to simply trying to get the Affordable Health Care Act passed, or to trying to take down a statue, these people take to the streets with their guns and their threats. And they're called heroes. And they are nothing more than thugs, which is exactly what they are. And then they also equate their freedom being taken away. They always compare it to somebody who is a civil rights icon, because they are so devoid of examples where their freedom was actually taken, where they were actually persecuted. They have to co-opt ours. Stephen Moore said, well, these protesters are just like Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was assigned to sit on the back of the bus because America didn't think her life was mattered. You are being told to stay home because your life does. They compare it to slavery. Slavery had to pick cotton. Slaves had to pick cotton. You have to pick up your order curbside. And it's the same thing. You often make these comparisons with your guns and your mask and your complaints. Slavery was legal in America for over 200 years. You can't take staying home for less than 200 days. That's where we're at. The very same people right now who had no problem with children being kept in cages now argue about their freedom being limited. You have the freedom to carry a gun or to act ass or do what you want. What you don't have the freedom to do is to spread the coronavirus around. It would be different if they just stayed with you. Now, Kentucky right now has had a spike because they obviously had all these people. They had all of these people clustered in a group, and now all of a sudden it's coming to where they are. The bottom line is you were fortunate. A lot of you come from rural areas where it hasn't been able to take hold, the coronavirus specifically, because you don't have the population density. But going to these rallies and going home, if that's fine, if that's what you want to do a couple of things. One, take the mask off, because you believe it's a hoax anyway, and then sign a release saying that you will not seek treatment and be a burden on the system. See if you can shoot it with your dumbass guns that you have to have all the time. You always compare what you have going on to other people who truly have suffered at the hands of this country because of white supremacy. You are so devoid of having people that you can actually point to, you co-opt ours. And one of the reasons you constantly compare yourself to slaves is because so many states decided to take slavery out of their textbooks. You have no context. You have no context. Your fight has nothing to do with people who were truly persecuted. Stephen Moore saying that Rosa Parks, they were the modern day Rosa Parks. Stephen Moore's ancestors would be appalled that he was comparing his plight now to the plight of a black woman. How far have you fallen? And you get to do this because we have no historical context, because so many of you insisted on taking slavery out that you have no idea what it was really like. You would never want to compare yourself to the people that have actually been through some things. But you know what they say? Those who don't learn from history are destined to deny it. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the DL Hughley Show.